So, about exiting before a crash, speaking of the cryptocurrency market. As I mentioned on the Patreon, I think I should mention it on my social media right now too, is that I really don't recommend that anybody make any important portfolio decisions until Jupiter comes out of combustion, or a little bit before is okay. And so what I'm saying is on the 18th of this month of March of 2022. So first of all, I really don't recommend you taking any important financial decisions for yourself until the 18th of March onwards, because Jupiter is combust in the natural 11th house of Aquarius, which is the house of financial gain. And it's very clear that that is affecting, and that, naturally it would, but I'm also saying that I'm observing it as well, that's affecting people's actions in terms of making financial movements, because Jupiter is our inner wisdom. If we have hoping that we have a well-functioning benefic Jupiter in our chart. So and then if you don't, that's also not so great. This is going to make it worse. So so when this Jupiter is combust, that means that we're not seeing that aspect of life properly. And then I just want to also add regarding that, you should really check and see what houses Jupiter rules in your own Vedic astrological chart from the Lagna, or maybe even from the moon also, depending on your chart. You can do both. And then just take special care of those categories of your life through to the 18th of March, it's important. And so number one, no important financial decisions, in my astrological opinion, should be taken until the 18th of March onwards. Secondly, I see that on the beginning, the 31st of March, it's very likely that we have a downward movement initiate for Bitcoin, but since Bitcoin is synced with the stock market, I would assume for the stock market too, although I'm looking at this from the Bitcoin point of view. So what I would say is that if the market moves up significantly up to the 31st of March, that's an interesting possible cash out point. However, I also see that starting April 13th, when Jupiter enters into Pisces, we're entering into a totally new phase. Now, as I mentioned, I probably on the Patreon or maybe in the Bitcoin book, that is going to start the Jupiter return for Bitcoin. For the chart that I use, my unique chart, which if you follow me closely, which I find to be quite interesting and provide a lot of fascinating insight. So that's really interesting, and I personally would definitely, I would make sure to hold Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, from that point out, because I see that it can be an upward move for the market. And then the more important downward move that I see happening after that is in August. So, and I just want to, before I finish, I'll just mention that I don't think that we're entering into the crypto winter, because I've done a few tests, and one test is that the market started to move up actually today as I'm recording this a little bit, the Bitcoin, and then the stock market. But just speaking about Bitcoin, and at that moment, Moon was transiting with Rahu at the beginning of Taurus. So now the collective consciousness is already perceiving this shift of Rahu into Aries. So it's almost like Rahu is already in Aries because the nodes are retrograde. So that means they're always, especially when they or maybe I would say when they're so close to the end of that sign, which is the beginning of the sign. Anyway, you already are feeling the implications of what they're going to do when they're in the sign that they're moving into, which is just like getting totally off course here, which is why I also mentioned to my Patreons on the Discord just that when I saw that news about Binance getting into payment processing more seriously just very recently, that's going to be very interesting for Binance coin. Very interesting and really good, actually, because that's kind of piggybacking on this Ketu energy entering into Libra. And like, by the way, like Binance is very fascinating because I feel like a lot of times, yeah, they're just, that's a really good decision on their part to put the energy into that. So that was a aside. Where was I going? Yeah, so we're not entering the crypto winter because what I noticed is the market started going up. Now, what I see is that can mean that the market also swings up mid-March. And the bigger implication of this means that what a lot of people or astrologers have been talking about is like this, fact of the market going up so much because Rahu was in Taurus, and this idea that the market is gonna crash once Rahu enters into Aries. I don't think that that's true at all, because really, not to mention that the initiation of the bull market didn't happen when Rahu was in Taurus. Okay, it was before that, but and the thing is, it's just, anyway, whatever. I've just looked into this quite deeply. So, and I also asked my own, my own inner knowing, like I asked myself, to be totally honest with myself as an astrologer. And I really do not think that we are entering into the crypto winter. So that's what I feel with all of my being, as informed, intellectually, and also as informed by the light or the knowing. So that's my take. And so I just wanted to say that. So don't, especially right now, especially now until 18th of March, don't get into an airy, don't make decisions based on, especially like based on like an airy feeling of like, I need to get out, because I don't think that you'll be happy probably afterwards with that decision, okay? But I'm not a financial advisor. You do what you want. I am an astrologer. I'm speaking from an astrologer's point of view, and I'm telling you what I personally am also doing in my life. Okay? So I hope that was informative to you. Thank you.